director here. Good to be with you all when we did just get 2 feet of snow, but the roads are actually fine.
Yeah.
And y'all made it through.
You love snow.
No.
Ryan hates snow.
No, I don't hate it. Okay. Hey, well, is my mic on? Let me check. Now it's on. Welcome to all of you online people.
It's an operator error.
Hey, it's good to have you with us tonight. We're glad you're part of the community. And just to give you a reminder, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there is always one thing we don't do. Y'all can shout it out on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
We don't do shame.
We don't do shame. But Noelle will tell you some things coming up. Noelle, bring it to us.
But we do welcome back. So if tonight is your first night here, welcome. I think I met Bill right before service began, and it was his first night here. So Bill, get with a home team or a staff member, and we will hook you up with a welcome bag. And inside that welcome bag, it has a little bit about what we do here at Free Recovery Community. There is some fresh roasted wagon coffee in this bag. Also a little bit about what Wagon Coffee does, and then some other free swag. So just know that we are so grateful that you're here with us tonight. Grab a welcome bag and keep coming back. Next up, this coming Thursday, so November 14th, we have our last sober open mic night of the year. Yep, so we team up with Colorado Artists in Recovery.
Phoenix. Team up with the Phoenix.
We team up with the Phoenix, and our sponsors, Colorado Artists in Recovery and the Hornbuckle Foundation. So if you all have not been to a sober open mic night, doors open at 6 p.m. And then in this room from 7 to 9 are their performances. So it's the last one of the year. And a lot of times this is the first time people are showcasing their talents in recovery. And it's usually a packed house. It's a great time if you're looking for community and just something to do on a Thursday night. Come join us this coming Thursday. And then that following Sunday, so November 17th, we are going to be decorating free for Christmas from 1 to 4 here in the building. So if you're looking for, again, community connection, just to get a bit more involved in free, maybe, hey, how do I get on the home team? How do I get more involved? This is a great way to do so. So November 17th from 1 to 4.
See, and I'm all practiced up because we got the Christmas tree up last night, the earliest we've ever done it.
Who saw Ryan and Tammy's matching pajamas on? Yep, those were
I almost
something.
wore them tonight.
Yep,
I almost wore them, but I decided
So he
against
doesn't
it.
dress up for Halloween, but he dresses up in matching pajamas.
That's the
So
way I roll.
I don't know.
My
I don't
wife
know
made
how
me
that
do it.
makes sense, but yep. And then lastly, so if you guys have been with us for a while, every year Ryan and Carrie, they lead a 4-week Advent series for us. We're doing things a little bit differently this year. This year it's going to be a one-night event, so it'll be from 6 to 7:30 on December 2nd. It's going to be a Monday. If this is something that interests you, man, they do an incredible job, and it's always really well attended. So if on the flyer you can register, and please do so, because you'll also need to sign up. It's going to be a potluck dinner to bring something to share, but food, community, connection, spiritual night of reflection. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
And if you're fuzzy on what Advent is simply the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. So it's a time when we prepare for love, joy, peace, hope to be born into the world. So if you're looking for just a more quiet evening and to eat together, because we do love to eat together, I highly recommend it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Love eating. It's great.
Love eating, yes.
Well, Mickey and I will be there, so we'll see you there.
Okay, thank you, Noelle.
I'm going to go this way.
Yeah, okay. Listen, the way we get started, if you're new with us, the way we get started is with celebrations. We lift up the good. We start with the good. We take 3 minutes for this. Maybe you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery is. We celebrate it all here. It's a profound thing that we get to do together to cheer for one another, lift each other up. God joins with us in the celebrations. So we take 3 minutes for this. If you're online, whatever platform you're joining us from, Facebook or YouTube, you can drop your celebrations there in the comment section there. For those of you in-house, Courtney has a mic on this side, Buddy has a mic on this side, and you can just slip up your hand and give us the celebration. Let's take 3 minutes.
"22 years without a drink."
All right, man, we'll celebrate that. Congratulations.
My son Jack went to a rehab a month ago. So he is doing really well.
All right.
And he said that he's been attending online meeting for here.
Ah,
I don't know if he said anything or not, but I'll encourage him to maybe shout out to his mom if he's listening.
yeah, Jack, give your mom a shout out, man. Make her proud. We're proud of you, Jack. Beautiful.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jerome, and I celebrated 9 years in recovery on Monday.
Way to go, Jerome, our community ambassador here.
I'm Landon. I have 30 days sober.
Way to go, Landon. Glad you're here. Congratulations.
My name is Jaden, and I have 63 days of sobriety.
Way to go, Jaden. Congratulations.
Hi, my name's Amanda, and I just celebrated a year on the 6th.
All right, way to go, Amanda. Happy 1 year. Glad you're here.
I'm Steph, and I'm 49 days sober, and I'm currently a resident at PLR, and I'm discharging tomorrow to go home.
All right, congratulations, Steph. Some big moves.
My name's Peyton. I'm an addict, and this is my boyfriend Zach, and he got baptized last weekend.
All right, we'll celebrate that. Way to go, Zach. Congratulations. Glad y'all are here.
My name is Andrew, and I have 55 days sober today.
Way to go, Andrew.
I'm Mark, and I'm 394 days off meth and fentanyl.
Way to go, Mark. Glad you're here, Mark.
I'm Tony. I am 1 year and 6 months clean off meth and heroin, and I am now shadowing to be a peer coach.
All right, dude. Way to go, Tony. Congratulations, buddy. Wow, you got some love in the room. Oh, and that's it. Thank you, buddy. Courtney, you want to join me up here for some celebrations? Buddy, you want to join me up here? I don't care which one. One of you have to join me up here. Buddy, can you read some comments?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to join with our online community. You read one, then I read one, then you read one, then I read one. Sounds good. You get how we do? You can start.
Okay. Monica
Oh, you got to use the mic, though, so they can hear you.
What I was thinking. Monica K says, "Hi, fam. Celebrated 19 months on the 7th. Congratulations, everyone."
Way to go, Monica. Glad you're with us tonight. Congratulations. Kayla says, "I'm 198 days sober, feeling blessed." Way to go, Kayla. We're glad you're joining us tonight.
James Ashley Jr. says, "A year and 6 months clean. God is good."
Yeah, buddy. Way to go, James. Kaylin says, "I'm celebrating 28 days clean today." Way to go, Kaylin. Glad you're with us tonight.
Kai says, "Congratulations, everyone. Celebrating 603 days free of fentanyl."
Yes. Way to go, Kai. Do you know she has celebrated with us every single week since day 17?
I remember week 1.
Oh, there's Jack. Jack is here. He says, "Hey, Mom. We're proud of you, Jack. Way to go, buddy." Man, you just got a standing ovation here. Jack, we're glad you're with us. Thank you, buddy, for helping me tonight. It's good to have you here, dude. All right, y'all. Well, if you're joining us for the first time, or if you've been with us for a while, we know last week we wrapped up a series on our 4 principles, what we stand for. Authenticity, recovery, no shame, new life. This week, what we're going to do, we're going to start a new 3-week series before we get into Advent, before we get into Christmas. This 3-week series is called Mind, Body, Spirit, Staying Connected in Your Recovery. Mind, body, spirit. And let me just start here. I know for some of you, this week was a difficult week with the election. It wasn't easy. For some of you, it took a toll on your mental health. And before I say anything else, I want to say this. I hope we all remember together in this community that our highest calling is to love one another, even when it's difficult, even when we have significant differences. Loving one another will always be the most countercultural thing we can do. I hope we all remember together that it was Jesus who said in Luke's gospel, he cast his vision and mission for the world. He told us why he was sent, and he said, God sent me to proclaim good news to the poor, to proclaim release to the prisoners and recovery of the sight of the blind, to liberate the oppressed. And wherever you are politically, may we keep doing that in this community, because y'all do know there's too much suffering in the world. There's too much suffering for us to just kind of throw our hands in the air and give up. And I know for some of you this comes on top of the already difficult things you're going through, the battling of addiction, the heaviness that comes with that, or the heaviness that comes with loving someone who's battling addiction, the heaviness of a tremendous loss, and sometimes the temptation is to simply give up. But how do we keep our minds right in the midst of it all? Because when we're talking about the mind, we're talking about mental health, and I believe that matters. And y'all do know there are many mental health myths out there that we have to stay aware of. There's a lot of them. Tonight I want to address just two of them, and the first one is this. Spiritually fit people shouldn't struggle with mental health. Now, if you grew up in the church, or maybe you've been around a lot of religion, you've certainly had well-meaning religious folks say to you in the midst of your mental health struggle, they'll say things to you like, well, just give it to God. Well, you gotta pray more. All you gotta do is, and listen, any idea that starts with the phrase, all you gotta do is, you should probably reject that idea. The truth is, you can love God and still fight depression. The truth is, you can pray faithfully. You can read all the sacred text and still battle anxiety. The truth is, you can come to Free every Saturday night and come here throughout the week and attend different meetings, and yet you can still struggle to overcome the trauma in your life. Yeah, you can be spiritually fit. You can be close to God and still battle in your mental health. Consider some of the heroes in our sacred text called Scripture. They battled mental health, the heroes. Do you remember Elijah? We talked about Elijah a couple of weeks ago. Prophet Elijah, a man who loved God. In fact, we're told that he stood against 800 false prophets, calling down fires from the heavens. And then soon after that, the text says that he's alone, depressed, and wanted to die. Loved God, battled mental health. How about King David? King David, he's kind of a hero in the text. Remember, he was described as a man after God's own heart. He was the one who faced the giant Goliath and took him down. And then the text tells us that he was filled with despair and he felt abandoned by God. Loved God, man after God's own heart, struggled with mental health. What about Mother Mary? Oh, Mother Mary, mother of Jesus, surely she didn't struggle with things up here. She was literally carrying good news in her body. When the angel came and said, you're carrying literally good news in your womb, do you remember what her first response was? She was confused. Mother Mary, venerated in many traditions, prayed to in some traditions, she struggled up here? And what about Jesus? I mean, surely not Jesus, not Son of God, not perfect, all put together Jesus. Surely he didn't struggle with his mental health. And yet we're told the night before his death, he was found in the Garden of Gethsemane. The text says that he was filled with anguish as he started to pray. God, take this away from me. God, don't let this happen. So much anguish, his sweat turns to drops of blood. And I don't know about y'all, but I've never experienced that much anguish. And then the following day, when he's put on this Roman execution stake called a cross, put to death by the state, and he's hanging on the cross, the only words he can utter is, my God, why have you forsaken me? God, why have you left me? Think Jesus battled with his mental health? You can be spiritually fit, close to God, and still battle with your mental health. Take a moment, think about some of the heroes in your life. They've had seasons where they struggled with mental health, and if they haven't, or if they can't admit that they have, I would highly encourage you to get new heroes in your life. The second myth that you might be familiar with is this one. God doesn't care about your mental health. Now again, if you grew up in the church or you've been around religion long enough, maybe you've heard people say to you that, well, God doesn't care about your mental health. God cares about your spiritual health, meaning your soul. God cares about what you believe and that you have the right belief system so that when you die, your soul can go to heaven, get the great punishment, and you don't have to go to a fiery place and burn forever and ever and ever called hell. You'll even hear that God cares about your body. I heard a lot about this in my childhood faith and my adolescent faith. It especially came up. There's this verse. We'll talk about it next week. It's from the Apostle Paul. He says, your body is a temple. Now, this is quoted all the time, especially in conversations around sex with young people. And I was a young person, and premarital sex and why sex is bad. Your body's a temple. It came up for me a lot. People would quote to me that verse around the age of 18 when I started getting tattoos. Some people would come to me and they'd say, Ryan, what are you doing, man? Don't you remember your body is a temple? You're destroying the temple that God gave you. Why would you do that? And it always confused me because my thinking was, look at this beautiful canvas that we have. What a shame it would be to keep the canvas blank, to not paint the canvas. How ungodly would that be? You see, I believe God cares about our mental health. In fact, so many of the ancient prayers give us this reminder that the people thousands of years ago believed that God cared about who they were and their mental health. If you read through the Psalms, if you haven't read through them recently, I highly recommend them. Read through the Psalms. Psalm after Psalm tells us God is close to the brokenhearted. God is always near to those who are crushed in spirit. Next, Psalm 23, the well-known one. Some of y'all know Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. God makes me lie down in green pastures. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. They believed that God was with them in their darkest times up here. And you read through the Psalms, they would be crying out. They would say angry things towards God because they knew that God could handle their anger. God could handle their mental health crisis. You see, I believe God cares about all of it. Mind, body, spirit. That's why we're doing this 3-week series. And isn't it interesting? Have you ever noticed how your mind, your mental health, it can be a bit like a roller coaster, can it? I mean, the thing just goes up and down sometimes. It's like one morning you wake up and you're like, look at me, you jump out of bed and you're just radiating God's peace. And you say, look at the world, they're so lucky that I'm here because I'm such a peaceful person. And then the very next day, you wake up and there's like darkness kind of hovering. And you're like, where did this come from? Man, yesterday I was fine. Why won't my mind shut off today? Why am I filled with anxiety? Why is my mind just racing today and I can't shut it off? Maybe you found yourself there this week. Monday you were fine. Tuesday and the day you were filled with peace. And then Tuesday evening comes and anxiety starts to fill your body and you're like, how did this happen? Do you know, just a few weeks ago, I reached out to a therapist. And I'm now in weekly counseling. And you say, Ryan, why'd you do that? Well, because I started to notice this thing happen over the past few months where things just, they weren't quite right up here. They were a little off. And see, maybe you're like me, you have to be careful with these things because those old voices, they can still creep in. And how it works with me is, man, you get a little more and a little more and a little more happens and you say, no, I'm fine. I'll just do this thing on my own and it's just a season. I'm sure I'll make it through. Then it's a little more and a little more and a little more, but I don't really want to make that phone call because I don't know where to start and I'm sure they won't understand and I want to be strong. I'm supposed to be strong in recovery. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And then it's a little more and a little more and a little more and I don't want to look weak. And so I pick up the phone and I call. And y'all, I tell you this story to say one of the greatest gifts I have realized in my recovery is we don't have to wait for the wheels to completely fall off before we reach out for help. And I know it's why many of us are people in recovery because we know exactly what it's like to wait for the wheels to completely fall off. We know what it's like to hit rock bottom, and then we come into a group of people and we say, I'm Ryan, I surrender, I'm waving the flag, I'm an alcoholic, or I'm an addict, or I'm the loved one of an addict, my life is falling apart, my life is unmanageable, I need some help. And listen, y'all, if your mental health is suffering, you don't have to wait for the wheels to fall off before you reach out for help. There is no shame in that game. There's no shame in asking for help. It is not a sign of weakness. It is actually a sign of wisdom. If your mental health is in the tank, you do need to be aware that there will always be those people who love to come along to you and give you those pat answers. Oh man, you know what you need? The problem is you need more God in your life. And for you, maybe that's true. Maybe you need more God in your life. And there's a practical piece. Maybe you need more sleep. We know that sleep heals things. They'll say, man, you know what the problem is? The problem is you just need more prayer in your life. You need a better prayer life. And maybe that's true. Maybe you do need more prayer in your life. And maybe you need more community, more friendship, more vulnerability in your life. Oh man, you know what the problem is? The problem is you just need to do more because you just kind of stay in and you don't do much. You need to get out more, and maybe that's true for you. Maybe you've become a bit of a recluse, and maybe you do need to get out more, and maybe you need more quiet in your life. Maybe you need to actually do less in order to receive more. Oh man, you know what the problem is. The problem is you need to be reading more spiritual books. You need to fill your mind with different things. And maybe that's true for you. Maybe you need to shift your content in which you are reading, but maybe you need more exercise. Maybe you need a better diet. Because science tells us, the experts tell us, that diet and exercise profoundly influence this thing called the brain. And let's talk about the brain for a minute because your brain is absolutely fascinating. And it is worth saying your life will always be moving in the direction of your strongest thought. See, the brain, it's fascinating because it's built over time and it starts at birth and then it starts to evolve. And what happens is the brain, it makes all these connections, just connection after connection after connection. And the simple connections that your brain is making, they actually have a word for this. These are called neural pathways. And for the first few years of your life, how many neural pathways is your brain creating? Again, experts tell us that your brain in the first few years is creating about 1 million new neural pathways every single second. Wow. That means every second your brain's making a connection, a connection, a connection, a connection. And after a while, your brain starts to learn, and the connections are simplified through this process called pruning. And what happens? Your brain gets more efficient, and it starts to think in patterns. In other words, once you think a thought, it's easier to think that thought again. Your brain is literally making new neural pathways, which, by the way, that's really good news if your thoughts are healthy. It's really bad news if your thoughts aren't. So I would ask you, my brothers and sisters, to whom, to what, to where are you fixing your thoughts? Because that matters. You know, there's a beautiful text. Comes from the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible in the book called Isaiah. It's one line, and see, you have to know something about Isaiah. Isaiah was a prophet. The people he's speaking to, saying really hard things to, they're his people. They're the people of Israel, and they have been dominated by this powerful, brutal empire called the Assyrian Empire, by the Assyrian people, and they know what it's like to suffer. They've been completely dominated. And Isaiah, in the middle of the book, in chapter 26, he breaks out in this prayer, and they're overhearing this prayer, and we get to overhear this prayer, and he drops this really fascinating line. Check it out. You, God, will keep in perfect peace all who trust in you, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. And you have to imagine their thoughts are racing. Their brain's not shutting off. Is God still with us? Where do we go from here? And this phrase, perfect peace, really interesting because I did some research in the Hebrew, Old Testament written in the Hebrew language. In the Hebrew, perfect peace is two of the same words. It's shalom, shalom. Why would he say it twice? Because in the Hebrew, when you say it twice, it denotes emphasis. It means he's really serious about peace. And for parents out there, if you have kids, you know this works. When we have to say things twice, it means we're serious. Like when I said to Breck just a few days ago, he came down the stairs, I was at the table, I said, Breck, it's trash day, dude. You got to do your chores, take the trash out. And y'all, he gave me that look. And you know what that look is. It's the most frustrating look. It's that look that says, I don't want to do that. Man, I ain't going to do that today. Breck, take the trash out. Okay, Poppy, I'll take the trash out. He knew I was serious. Now, that word fixed, all whose thoughts are fixed on you. In the Hebrew, check this out. The Hebrew is this word samak, and it literally means to prop, to rest your full weight on an object. You see, where are you resting the weight of your thoughts? What are you fixing your thoughts on? Perfect peace. For all those whose thoughts are fixed on CNN. Nah, that ain't what it says. Nah, perfect peace for all those whose thoughts are fixed on Fox News. Man, that ain't what it says either, is it? Perfect peace for all those whose thoughts are fixed on not being good enough. Perfect peace for all those whose thoughts are fixed on getting revenge on those who hurt us. Perfect peace for all those whose thoughts are fixed on picking up the next drug or drink as the solution. I mean, do y'all see how easy it is to get stuck in those neural pathway ruts? What are you fixing your thoughts on? Perfect peace. Shalom, shalom for all those whose thoughts are fixed on God. And y'all, I really struggled with using this verse tonight because part of me knows that, man, we sit and we say, man, that sounds pretty, but it's way too big. It's up there somewhere, and it sounds a little hyper spiritual. I mean, Ryan, come on, dude. How do we really fix our thoughts on God? What's that even mean? Should I just kind of sit in a yoga position all day and just, Do I lock myself in a closet all day and just pray and just kind of look up here somewhere and maybe do a little bit of worship because that's what God needs from me? God is an egomaniac. Maybe try it out. Let me know how it works. I think the easiest way to describe fixing your thoughts on God is very simple. It's all the moments of you getting out of your head so that you can actually discover peace of mind. You know, early in recovery, I was told, Ryan, when you're struggling, that's when you need to pick up the phone and call 3 other alcoholics and check in on them. And I thought, that's so stupid. I mean, why would I do that? I'm the one struggling. Why do I need to check in on other people? It makes no sense. And all my old neural pathways were telling me, no, you struggle on your own. You see how those old stories can come back up. You know, I have enough new neural pathways today. I know when I'm having a hard week, I know the things to do. I know that I still have to show up to my life. I still have to show up to my recovery and attend meetings and be with my people. I have to still go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week to keep the endorphins flowing. I have to tend to the relationships in my life. I don't get to check out when it's a hard week. And all my old neural pathways tell me, no, Ryan, what you should do is isolate. That's a good idea. I have enough new neural pathways today to know that when I'm making difficult decisions, I can actually pause. I can actually invite God in. I can actually get quiet. And y'all, that is a hell of a thing for an alcoholic like me, because all of my old neural pathways tell me to be rash, be impulsive, make quick decisions, and it's usually the wrong decisions. And by the way, do it on your own. You see, in my experience, you are fixing your thoughts on God when you move the 18 inches from your head to your heart. And y'all, be careful. Don't confuse perfect peace, shalom, with a perfect life. You will still encounter and go through hard things. Unexpected things will hit you in your life, and they may rock your life a little bit. You see, peace, perfect peace, is not the absence of conflict in your life. It is the presence of a power greater than you in your life. And you can recognize the presence of God in your life. And that doesn't mean that your bank account just starts to increase. It doesn't mean your credit score starts to shoot up. It doesn't mean that you are going to all of a sudden get thicker hair and thinner thighs and your relationships are just going to be perfect and they're going to be stress-free. No, you still have to show up to your life. You still have to do the work. But I do know this. You can have an inner peace in your life no matter what you're going through. To whom, to what, to where are your thoughts fixed? And I'll close with this. Stay aware of those people that God is placing in your life, the ones who help guide you towards the thoughts that matter. Do you know on August 7th of 2020, we went on a hike. It was me and my mom was in town. My friend Jason, who's part of this community, he was with us. And I had with me my boy Breck, who was 4 years old at the time, and our little girl Shiloh, who was 7 years old at the time. And after this beautiful hike, we decided to go grab breakfast somewhere in Littleton. And we get into the restaurant, we sit down, and I'm looking over the menu, and for my 4-year-old boy, Breck, I ordered him the bananas and cream because, see, Breck has a severe nut allergy, and I didn't realize how severe it was at the time. I know now. And breakfast comes out, and we're all eating our breakfast, and Breck takes a couple of bites, and he looks at me, he puts a spoon down, and he says, "Poppy, my tongue, it feels kind of funny." And he says, "Poppy, my throat, it feels kind of funny." And I look down in his bananas and cream bowl, and I see these chopped up pecans. And Breck, he started to create a bit of a scene, so I took him out to the parking lot, and he started to vomit in the parking lot, and it was a hot summer day, and he takes his shirt off to clean up his vomit, and I see these welts and hives all over his little body. And I didn't know much about this severe nut allergy, but I knew enough to run back into the restaurant and get the others. And I told him, "Let's go. We got to get in the car. We got to get Breck to Littleton Hospital." And we get in the car. I'm driving. Jason is sitting next to me in the front seat. And my mom is holding Breck in the back seat next to my daughter, Shiloh. And I'm pulling out of that restaurant parking lot. And my mom says, "Ryan, you've got to drive fast." And I look in my rear view mirror to look back at Breck, and his eyes rolled back at his head, and his body went limp. And I looked at Jason in the front seat, and I said, "Jason, man, I'm not thinking clearly. I need you to guide me, and I need you to tell me where to turn," which was a baffling thing for me, because I had been to Littleton Hospital dozens of times for pastoral care visits at the church where I was previously serving. Man, I knew how to get there, but I didn't know how to get there. And the whole way there, Jason said in the calmest voice ever, I want you to go straight through that stoplight. Ryan, you need to turn right at this stop sign. Ryan, you need to turn left up here. And we pull in at Littleton Hospital. Man, I didn't see any parking spots. And I said, Jason, I don't know where to park. And it just so happened, Jason, who was with me that day, well, he was a security guard. Guess where he was a security guard for his day job? Littleton Hospital. He says, Ryan, you pull right up front. You get out of this car. You get your boy Breck in there. And I'm a security guard here. I'll take care of it. So I get Breck in, and he was in there for about an hour, and things got progressively worse. They rushed him off to Children's Hospital, and a few hours later, he was just fine. You see, Jason that day led me with a clarity and a calmness. He helped me fix my thoughts on the things that actually mattered. And I can tell y'all, it was not a peaceful situation. But in that moment, there was a peace that came around me. There was a peace that went beyond my understanding for the moment. You see, wherever you are, whatever you're going through, you can indeed have an inner peace. To whom, to what, to where are you fixing your thoughts? And don't miss those people who are guiding you towards perfect peace. Shalom. Shalom. So there's a band out. Some of y'all might know them. They have a lot of songs out. Anyone ever heard of Pearl Jam? Some of the greatest music ever written. Man, this song came on my Pandora station this week, and it came at the perfect time. And it's a song called Just Breathe. So I want you to take a moment and just breathe. I mean, whatever you're going through, wherever your mental health is, you're here. You're here. Take a moment and reflect. Here's Just Breathe by Pearl Jam.
This time is traditionally reserved for a storyteller or a subject matter expert to share a little bit about their journey or insightful experience in the world of recovery and or mental health. Tonight, we're going to shift a little bit of the focus from the election time, all of the other things, to one of the other great things that makes our country great. I'm going to introduce you to a fellow Army combat veteran like myself, and we're going to host a conversation about the mind. Not every day do veterans get to have a conversation in public about a sensitive topic, but I think that one, our community can handle it, and two, I think there's value for everyone to hear it. So without further ado, this is my friend and former colleague, TJ Westphal. TJ, thanks for joining us. Just click it on. There it is. Technical difficulties, bear with us. All right. Well, TJ, thanks again for being here. I want to kick things off with a simple question, but one to just share a little bit about who you are and what got you into the world of recovery and mental health.
Well, I'll start by saying thank you for having me. Thank you to this community for making me feel so welcome and letting me share some time with you. This is a really meaningful thing for me to be able to do with Veterans Day coming up, to talk to people in this community. I'm not in recovery myself, but I have endured a fair amount of trauma in my life, and my wife is the daughter of an alcoholic, so it's in the family. And when I got out of the military, I was looking for a way to help others. And so I currently work helping veterans who are battling addiction get access to treatment. And what's really cool is, I'm seeing people at their worst. The wheels have come off. And I'm feeling so much love and hopefulness and power in this room. So again, thanks again for having me. And that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that deserves a round of applause for sure. I remember first meeting TJ. Not everyone in the treatment world is a veteran, which is one great thing. And then it's not for everyone to connect people to services. And as men who have seen some of the evil places of the world, it's really special that we get to connect on such a special topic. And it's someone I can just look up to and speak my mind about things that I don't think everyone understands. But one thing that makes him special is he sees that value in other people. Like what we experience isn't so unique to just us. So can you share some of your story and how war helped you overcome some of your childhood experiences?
Sure. So a little bit about me. I was born in Korea, and I was adopted as an infant. Adopted by some wonderful American parents here. And unfortunately, I lost my mom to cancer at a young age. She was 54, I was 21. And I joined the military as a way to kind of escape and try something else, get away from all that. Did 8 years in the infantry, served a year in combat in Iraq. Horrible time, wouldn't recommend it. Came home from the war, and right when I got home, lost my dad. My adoptive father passed away. So, I tell people that my combat experience or my trauma was really bookended by the loss of my parents. So, a lot of pain, right? And I don't know, I just really wanted to find a way to turn my pain into something else, maybe turn it into some kind of purpose. And I remember the first time I went to the VA to get some help, and I was struggling, doing some bad stuff. Binge drinking with the boys, like the Army trained me to do, not healthy. Doing some risky stuff out there, riding my bike a little too fast down I-25. And I remember talking to my therapist for the first time. I sat down on the couch, and she said, well, why are you here? What can I help you with? And I said, well, I'm a twice orphaned Korean adoptee and a combat veteran. My mind is a war zone of loss, grief, moral injury, anger, just, I'm a mess. Where do you want to start? And it was through that experience and working with her and having a lot of support from people who love me that I figured something out. I was really okay at the time with being a victim of my experience in my past. And I learned I can choose to be a student of my experience. And it was through that I found a way to not go down a bad road when it came to addiction or bad mental health outcomes. And it's led me to where I am today, which is helping others hopefully get to that point too.
Thank you for that. A little triumph over tragedy. And I know our community is no stranger to that. Like we understand, we share trauma, and with the understanding, trauma is trauma, wartime or not. How do you correlate your experiences to help others that are struggling with addiction?
So as Jerome said, trauma is trauma, right? And I think sometimes veterans are like, well, I've been through the war, so no one's going to understand me. Or maybe someone who's battling addiction says, oh, Normie's never going to understand me. But I think something that we all as humans can get is, like, bad stuff happens in our life, and it sucks, and we're going to hurt from it. And we're going to have a response to it, right? And sometimes we have really unhealthy ways of coping with that. And so what I try to do is I try to encourage veterans or anyone I'm working with out in the community to really see the value of not doing it alone. When we individualize mental health, which is fairly common, right? It's a you problem, go fix you. We're missing out on something that we as humans need. We're social creatures. We need each other because we can't see our own stuff. That little brain of ours, that mind, is a powerful thing, and it can tell us some really crazy stories about ourselves, and we'll create beliefs that are really unhealthy. So there is a way to channel the power of community, right, that social system we have, to overcome that, because we can't do it alone.
I love it. It's one of the great things that we have here. What bonds us is our brokenness. And we all, every person that's here chooses to be here. That element of choice adds value to the people around you. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. We're giving something away by showing up for ourselves and showing up for others. I love that. One of the things that stuck out to me this week, and it was very correlated to Ryan's message tonight, and when he was speaking about neural pathways, you said the story we write in our minds creates the lens through which we view our experiences, the feelings they elicit, and ultimately our beliefs and behaviors. Can you break that down for us a little bit? Because that really hit home.
Yeah, so I'm a visual learner and a visual thinker, so it helps me to think of it this way. We have an event, say a trauma, a loss, something bad, and the very next thing our mind does, it gives us a feeling or an emotion attached to that. And then from that feeling, we create a belief. But here's the catch. We can create a crappy belief. We might not create a good belief. We might create a belief that's not even true, such as, I'm not loved, I'm not worthy, I'm not safe. And because we're pattern thinkers, as Ryan talked about, this lens is now making it to where everything we experience, whether it's stuff we see on social media or something that happens with a friend or a loved one, all of these experiences come through that lens, and we just revert to the pattern of feeling, my belief is, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved. And it's a cycle, it's a loop, and it sucks. We have the power to make a choice to have a new belief, a healthy belief. We have to be able to break that cycle, though. And as humans, we don't have really the ability, a lot of times, to break that cycle ourselves. We need someone else. We need someone who can say, hey, you're doing something wrong, or you need help, or whatever, because we don't see our own stuff. We talk about the battle buddy thing, right? In the Army, you have a battle buddy. Everywhere you go, you have to have someone with you, and that person is there to watch your back and hold you accountable. We need that as humans. We all need it. fact, we don't just need it, we should want it. We have to get to the point where we crave that authentic realness from somebody we trust, our battle buddy, to say, hey, you need help. Hey, I see you're hurting. What can we do? You got to have it, and you got to want it.
Yeah, well said. How do you utilize community and social structures to manage your mind?
Well, I accept that I don't know everything. I don't know what I don't know. And if I don't have people around me, if I don't surround myself with people who are willing to get real with me when I need it, that I could go down a dark path. So just like we see here in this community, our relationship, I try to surround myself with people who are willing to be vulnerable and real with me and are okay with me being real and vulnerable with them. And it creates this just amazing empowerment for everybody involved in that. And when we do that together, socially, we have tremendous power to change and to choose to have better beliefs about ourselves.
I love that. You have a really special way of, articulating that starting point, the earliest memory, probably even before your earliest memory of being an orphan to today, choosing the lessons you learned along the way to channel that to help other people.
Yeah, it's about having a growth mindset.
That's a special gift. Like, I hope you continue doing that. Like, our community is grateful for people who do that, and we certainly need more of that. In closing, what would you offer to someone who's struggling to manage their mind? Someone who might be watching, someone who might watch this later. What could you offer them?
Don't write your story alone. Find your battle buddy. Find your Jason. Find your Jerome. Someone you can get real with. Crave it. Do that for each other. And I think you'll find you can turn whatever pain you have into significant purpose for your life.
Thanks, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please a hand for TJ Westphal.
Thank you so much.
Both of you, TJ and Jerome, thank you for your service to this country. Deep appreciation to you. And thank you for the vulnerability that you share being a combat veteran and reaching out for help. And I know one of the things I deeply appreciate about Jerome here being on staff is he has a passion for the veteran world and getting them help. And he's brought that passion here. You brought that passion here tonight. Thank you for that, Jerome. So much appreciation for that. And dude, I love don't write your story alone. Find those battle buddies. And let me say this. If you are here tonight, you're struggling with mental health, if things just are a little off up here, don't leave here without connecting with someone. Connect with someone. The cafe is open till 9 o'clock. Get some coffee, get a muffin, sit down, chat. You can connect with people, and if you're online, reach out to someone. There's no shame in that game, as we said earlier. All right, y'all, the way we close here on a Saturday night is with what we call heartaches, similarly to how we do celebrations. Well, these are called heartaches. Maybe you're carrying a burden. Maybe you've been trying to carry it alone, and you find out when you try to do it alone, you suck at doing it alone, and you need your battle buddies. You need community. It's why we have community, so you can voice that burden. If you need prayer, if you need some lifting up, some encouragement, we have a God who hears the cries of the people. If you're online, drop your heartaches in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're joining us from. For those of you in-house, Darren has a mic on this side. Buddy has a mic on this side. Just raise up your hand and put some words to the burden you're carrying, and we'll take 3 minutes for this. This time is yours.
Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm an addict. One of the clients at our house is relapsed, and we gave him some options, and he chose to go back to a homeless shelter. So if we could just send him some prayers and lift him up. Thank you.
Yeah, prayers for him. Thank you for mentioning that. Darren.
Can we pray for those out in the street right now in their addiction?
Yeah. It's getting colder. Prayers for them.
I'm Tony. I'm an addict. My co-parent is getting out of the halfway house, and she's moving back in with her mom. And for the sake of my children and for her own self, I really hope she does good. So if we can just throw some prayers out there, get her moving, get her going, throw them good vibes out. Appreciate you.
All right. Prayers for her. Thank you for lifting them up.
My name's Mac. As soon as weather permits this week, my friend Jaden here and I are going to go see his dad's grave for the first time. So support for him.
Yeah. Mac, prayers for you, man, in that situation. Tender moment. I'll mention just briefly, Rich and Sheila Pepe are part of our community here. They were here, they attend the 5 o'clock service. And she let us know that earlier this week, her 36-year-old niece died of liver failure due to alcoholism. And it's a reminder to us that alcoholism kills people. It's not just drug overdoses. Alcoholism kills people, young people. So do keep them and the family in your prayers.
Hi, I'm Adam, alcoholic addict. So just recently, one of our prospects, Ryan, passed away on Colfax in Syracuse on his motorcycle. Some lady pulled out in front of him and killed him. So I just want to send heartaches out or prayers out to his family, who I'm sure are probably watching tonight. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Prayers for Ryan's family and the sober souls, all who loved him.
Hi, I'm Christy. I have a month and 5 days sober from marijuana and alcohol.
Christy, good to have you here. Glad you shared that with us. Continued prayers for you.
My name is Mark, and I'm praying for a couple of people tonight. One is my brother-in-law, who is still out actively using and a little crazy at this time.
Yep.
And also my mother-in-law, who's going through health issues, and we just pray that it takes care of her and helps with her mental health, that she gets a lot better. And for my husband, who's going through and carrying the burden of doing all this and still trying to be there for everybody at the same time.
Yeah. Prayers for both of you and the family. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being of service here, too. I know it goes under the radar. This guy's plowing our sidewalks and streets and parking lots so that you all have a safe parking spot to park in. Thank you, Mark. Deep appreciation. Hey, Darren, you want to come on up here, dude? Darren with Colorado Artists in Recovery, and man, I saw a beautiful thing when we were listening to Pearl Jam, Just Breathe. You and Matt were really belting it out, and I thought, man, Sober Open Mic Night is next week, and y'all just do a performance together.
I can play it on violin.
Oh, and dude, only if you could sing, man, it would be beautiful. I was singing a little bit. I'm feeling a trio, maybe. Okay, shall we join our...
You know what's funny about that song? It pops up on Pandora right when I'm stressed out.
See?
It's
that's
magic.
A little God shot there.
It's magic.
It's a good one.
Ask Kaylin, asking for prayers for the homeless population and anybody who is without shelter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They've been lifted up a few times tonight. Kaylin, thank you for lifting them up. Yeah, keeping them in prayer. Mimi says, struggled bad last month, but never gave up. A little over 8 days again. Way to go, Mimi. Continued prayers. Yeah.
Juanita, prayers for my friend Stephen battling homelessness and fighting addiction and mental illness. Juanita, thank you for that. We're absolutely praying for that.
Yeah. Gina says, prayers for my friend Brenda, sitting with her son, age 43, dying from alcoholism this evening. Gina holding Brenda and her family and that young person in prayer tonight. I'm glad you're with us. And we know you have some experience there to be of help and service. So glad you're able to be with them. Thank you for being with me tonight. Darren, always good to have you up here. Can't wait for Sober Open Mic Night. And listen, y'all, if you have been impacted by the mission of breaking the silence of addiction, creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection, if you call this place home, if you call this place your people, your tribe, your community, whatever you call us, I hope you remember that we are reliant on your generosity. We are funded by you, the people, which is a beautiful thing we get to do in this community. And I know many of you, you've made giving a spiritual practice in your life. You've made it a sacrificial practice in your life. And I know for many of you to give, I know there's other things you can do with that money. Believe me, I get that. And you need to know we're really grateful for your giving here. It truly makes a difference. It's how we are funded. So if you'd like to donate to Free Recovery Community, there's a few different ways to do it. You can get the free app, Free Recovery Community. It's free. All of our content's on there, messages, guest storytellers. There's a giving button. You can give one time or monthly or weekly. We're really grateful for recurring donations. It helps us budget, and the new year's coming. You could do the same thing at the website, freerecoverycommunity.com. Or there are the giving kiosks, one beside Bobby here that says giving for you checks and cash type people, one just outside these doors and it says giving on it. And as always, I love to tell you all about the dip jar. It hangs out just outside these doors on a black table. It's a little machine about this big. You can take your credit card, you can dip it in and dip it out. It's set at $20. You can't give more, you can't give less. 20 seemed like a reasonable number. That's why it's set at 20. Once you pull your card out, it lights up and you get to feel all sorts of good about your giving, and it makes a difference here. Thank you all for being a part of it. Truly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shall we go out with a prayer? Yeah, okay. I would encourage you to just open up the hands. There's no magic in it. You're just open. Maybe it's symbolic of you opening up a new neural pathway. Open to a new pattern of thought. Open to say, man, I am struggling a little bit and I might need some help. And if you don't know the St. Francis prayer, it's a beautiful prayer. We'll pray it together, and it's on your screen. And it goes like this. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Grace and peace to you. See you all next time.